The square root of division. Literally, okay? Notice that word. It's in math. The square root. Okay? Like, it would literally be like a tree that was a square that had roots. Somebody's like, okay, you're ciphering too far. He's going too far. That doesn't make any sense. Let me show you what the root to squareness is, so you don't be a square. So the reality is that the hermaphrodite symbolism is replete now. We understand why Thoth, Hermes, and all the Buddha, the Bodhisattvas, and all that all connect. Even the final one, the watered down one, the one with no minerals at all, the Jesus. Okay? All of those connect into there being a merging between the masculine and the feminine forces, returning to that state. Because are you in that state now? My guy, are you in that state now? It's like, how are you relating to the whole feminine thing? And let's think about it. It's all twisted on this dimension. Because if you get related too well, then you might go to the external side of the whole thing and just completely not understand why that may not be the direction either. So to incorporate all of what needs to happen inside you, you need to activate two forces that are genuinely not really made to be around each other, but somehow need each other. And you become the reason. See, it's like why your parents created you, why they don't fight, why they love each other, why they don't leave each other, only because of you. So that same force is what you are. You're the force in the gap. You can be the reason why this all gets destroyed and your world gets destroyed, or how we all go into a greater level of connection and recollect everybody that we lost. Again, people are terrified of death at this point. In our customs and our traditions, how was death ever a mourning period? It was a parade. They would throw parties, long parties. You may even dip in and move the chrysalis or something. Like, yo, I'm good. I'm good over here because I'm with everybody, and it basically feels like, you know what it feels like? It feels like when you just wake up, but continuously. You know that feeling when you just wake up? It's like when you get some good sleep and you're like, oh, I'm refreshed. It feels like that all the time. All the time. And everybody is there. So do you really want to mess that up and wait for another at least 3,000 years this bus? That's why they kept relating it. If you've been listening to my messages over the last few weeks, and I'm just doing what I'm being told by higher self. I kept talking about, oh, you don't want to miss the bus. You missed that bus. You never know when that bus is going to come back around again. This is the bus. It's coming around. Right now, we're even starting on 21st just to be prepared this year. And then next year, we're going to get on that bus. So let's keep connecting it. Let's get to the square root of division. Now, if Mercury is the center column or the spindle or the hermaphrodite, and it is spinning that center column, what happens if you break half of it? Or what happens if one half becomes this big and the other half becomes this big? What happens? This thing just, oh my goodness. That's what happens. You can watch it happen in anything that you experience or experiment with, especially in the laboratory where you're putting it under these conditions. And so thus, when the atom was split, and there is a statement that you got to know that lets you understand the dirty game that was being played. That statement says, and I put a greater star to rule the day and a lesser star to rule the night. Well, you ain't talking about no balance then. You ain't talking about no balance then. If you create as an alchemist, I don't care who you are, like that, you're not talking about any balance. And that is the world we are living in. And that is why woman is brought to us to be weaker as a male. When on the spiritual plane, we're the ones like, yo, where's the womb? Where's the womb? You see, because they're more powerful there. And then over here, they're more like, yo, where is he at? Because this shit is heavy. Where is he at? I'm going to come lift this couch and work on this job and all this kind of stuff, because that's not what they do. But now, you know, everything's starting to blend. I'm just talking to you about these two different poles and how they work. So this means that the square root to division is, of course, this imbalance within the races, because what is division? What is division. We're going to climb the entire mountain today. Division is time. Time only is a divider. It is to mark one segment from another. So what is division? When somebody says what is division, or when you think about what is division, it is calendars. It separates one thing from another. Okay? But the root to division, because that's what you guys see, division is like why I can't see my neighbor and why I can't touch my cat that just left. Why? That's division, okay? So the truth is, what is division? It is time and separation, okay? So now you know, now you have the rod of Hermes. Because opposite of division creates. So this is why you need the force so bad. And you see how hard it is for you? You see what's been done? So hard for you to come together. So hard for you not to be mad at somebody. So hard for you. That's why I said, man, this is hard. Yes, because you're making it hard. You're continuously judging yourself. You're airing your own self out. You're low vibing. You're acidic. And we need to change that. And we have a year. One Anu, which is the blink of an eye, for a being that is on the next ring after the one where it's just an hour. So here we go. Now that you see what division is, you also get another myth that is inside of the theologies of the spiritual traditions. And this is about like a rampage, literally, of the cutting and the felling of trees. Okay? Like there literally becomes this craze, as you see in occult history, where certain cultures start cutting down their mother trees, the mother trees of other cultures, to completely get rid of them forever, for good. Thus trapping them, disconnecting them, because some were up there and other ones are down there, but the tree is cut. So the great mother Yemaya, they try to cut down this tree. You see what I mean? So in our world, that is symbolic of the umbilical cord being cut. Now, this tree is like Jack and the Beanstalk. You climb a tree, you see giants. You see the next stage of who we really are. That's what that's symbolic to. Now, this cutting of the tree is also symbolic even in modern times when they tried to hook a tether to the moon, which was like supposed to be like an elevator where we could get to the moon. They put the tether out there and they symbolically, it didn't connect. Something stopped it. Look it's gone. It's disconnected. Which is also symbolic to the Tower of Babel, which was when the 26 letters, which is us, was broken. As you see now the biblical God and his identity. You Christian pastors, clean up fast. Clean up, clean it up. Because it's coming and it's going to come fast. And if you ain't right, you're out the framework. But there's a moment here. We're in the gap. You got to realize what's really happening. Now, the cutting of this umbilical cord, right? The sacred cutting of us from our mother is something that the indigenous, the shamans witness when somebody, especially like from the United States, comes into the jungle and wants to be healed. The first thing they notice is that their umbilical cord is not connected into the earth. So that's the first thing they do, is they try to get that thing to reconnect. You remember that movie Existence? Where they had a little thing That's what they try to do, is get you reconnected. Okay? So I'm telling you all this knowledge because you have to realize that there has been a real cutoff. And you're looking in a book, and this is why I kind of got hyped for a minute. They had to back me up. Back down, man. You wait, man, because you ain't going to be able to finish the message you're going right now. You're going to hurt. And like, okay, all right, let me take a minute. Let's take a minute. So the reason why it makes me so hot is because there's an act in the scriptures that everybody reads and believes and loves. And this is an act of a being. We don't even know his name. He keeps saying he's God. We don't know who this being is. He's just dark. That's why can't nobody see him. So what happens is the being says, let us go down and confuse them. This could be anybody, to be honest. This could be your next door neighbor. Let me go down and confuse this one. So I'm not talking about like such a hyperdimensional act. Like I said before, because time repeats itself, let us go down and confuse them was just as recent as the British oligarchs going into most of these kingdoms and disturbing things. And referring, when they say down, they think of everything low as the south and is lower, when everything comes from the inside out, thus from the south first. So it's higher. But anyway, that it may take them a while to get unturned upside down. So what we're talking about is, again, this could be a recent event as far as them saying to their court, let us go down into these other countries and confuse them, confuse their languages, take their languages away, give them English, which is a broken tower, okay? And then let them use that. And then we'll take different variations of it, like Sanskrit and like other ones that look like other things. And then we'll just give them those languages and pull them up. And then we'll eventually pull them into a dead language like English. And we'll keep telling them that the language is actually being improved when really it's just a half of a square. And it doesn't move very well. It's not even a circle. It's not a wheel. It's not very curved when you add all the shapes up. So the reality is that this thing is a code is moving in the mind of confusion, because it says, let us go down and confuse them. Then it comes down and it uses language as a form of breaking everybody apart. That's happened. When I'm in, even now, I'm in there with my barber. He speaks only Spanish. It's tough. Because we even have to play like we really understand each other sometimes. And it's not the same. And so the reality is that in the setting of how we truly exist, language doesn't play much of a component truly as to what really connects us. But yet now it is such a component that we can't have almost any connection generally with someone randomly unless we really understand their language. And I'm not saying that indefinitely, but you know what I mean. So this is the felling of the tree, okay? Because this language or this cable, because remember, it's just a cable, but where is it connecting? It's all the roots, right? It's connecting everything. So this cable has been cut. And this is what's important to know. So in the traditions, in the religions, and this is why they keep up so much division, there is darkness. And those beings on the opposite angle of Orion who are animate, they are alive. They are the ones keeping up this darkness and division. And those people that are all wide-eyed and even abusing children while still coming, you feel like they're so peaceable until you really see their actions. And you're like, what the hell's going on here? Because that being is not even there anymore. That person is gone. They were too weak to withstand. That thing is just using their body. And then now it's in there molesting children and all this weird stuff going on. And it's really happened. And then when they come out of the door, they're like, hey, everyone. Hey, namaste. Oh, it feels so good, the energy. Right? These beings have gotten taken over by the dog, which is opposite. Now, I'm not saying anything about dogs in general. Some people are like, no, not Chabunky. Hell no. You had, my best friend. But see, of course, everything has different poles, okay? So we know about the friend is the dog, the guardian, he'll protect you. Like, I don't care who it is. He will lose his life for you. But you also have to understand when that force is turned against you, it becomes opposite to God. And that's why God is dog, okay? Because it is literally when you are against yourself and you attack yourself. You ever seen, you got to really understand wild dogs, not Chabunky, not what you've done in your alchemical preparation to feed in this creature vegetable stuffs and little pieces of horsetail. No, I'm talking about the great wolf, right? Anubis, the guardian of the gate. That's who I'm talking about, who sits in the apex and the thrones of Orion now, who did not raise Hermes or Osiris, who decided to not perform his part of the ritual and rule as king and send everyone into a world one step lower so he can be God. Okay? And these are real intellects. Now, when you say, well, who is that being, Sevan? I'll go get him. It's in everybody. It's every time you make that choice to divide. That's it. Division is not an option in my book. We don't know that word. It's not in our language. Okay, so we need to get that very clear. It wouldn't be in the language because your language wouldn't be a language if you had division in it. Language is a cabal. It's to roll like a wheel. It's to be perfect. The first two invented the wheel. right? So if you don't have that, you don't have anything. So that's why they say it that way.